That's why I like thinking about the stone tape theory, although I'm not the biggest subscriber of it. I think it's fascinating because I think things that have happened in a place you're occupying can have an effect on you, whether it's the ghost actually doing it or you projecting your knowledge of the past into yourself. You just reminded me of a story. I've never told this story. It's not my story, but I have it to my friend. But I think about it a lot when you talk about places that have some type of, I don't know, possession of sorts. People talk about that when they go to like a battlefield or something. You know, when I was in Georgia for the Inverted World season 2, I came across a coven of witches who would do these weird blood rituals on a battlefield where the biggest, bloodiest battle of the revolution happened. They were psychotic. But I think about that when I went to New York for the holidays. I saw my friend, and I always ask my friend, "Hey, what happened to our other friend?" I just want to leave names out because it's kind of crazy. Our other friend, who used to do a lot of work for this old job I worked at, my one friend owns, guy we knew for years, all of a sudden woke up on, it happened to be 9/11, not that 9/11, but it just happened to be a 9/11, woke up and held his family hostage by gunpoint, tied him up. I believe he said he was going to bring him to Disney World, and they all like packed up and just, he didn't hurt them. They were saved. I think he was held hostage and it was a whole police thing. He went to jail. It was very bizarre that this guy we knew for years who did a lot of work with us just snapped all of a sudden. So whenever I see my friend who owns that business, I'm like, man, what happened? Like, because it just boggles my mind that you can see someone can snap. Kind of like what Jessica was saying with that boyfriend, all of a sudden becoming a monster.
You know,
yeah.
That story I told, and it just, for me, it makes me feel like there is intervention.
Yes.
Like I believe in God.
Yeah.
And I think there's a purpose.
Yep.
And sometimes there's intervention. Yeah.
And it could come from good and bad places.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
well,
so
just like tonight, right?
Exactly.
Everything got messed up.
Exactly.
Until,
Yeah. Sure would.
That stuff freaks me out, right?
Yeah.
We walk into the room an hour beforehand and the video card fell out.
Yes.
Like, and I said to the crew's like, no, that's wrong. That doesn't happen. And they're like, yeah, it fell out. And I was like, how does it fall? I mean, I understand you can screw them in and there's
Right.
no screw, whatever, but like it just fell out.
But there was more than one thing. It was like one thing after the next was happening.
Yeah. The
You know,
arm
it's
was
falling
weirdest
apart.
for me.
You know what I like to think? Whenever I'm driving somewhere and then a train comes and stops me, I wonder if this train wasn't here, would I have gotten into a car accident?
I know.
But do you also
Like-
ever have like thoughts like, I'm going to get into an accident right now? Like you almost like think it's going to happen and then it doesn't happen?
Yeah, it's like intrusive thoughts and stuff.
Yeah, right,
For
right.
sure. Scott Fitzgerald, actually, I believe it was him, wrote a short story about that. But like, if this didn't happen, then that wouldn't have happened. Or if this happened, then this would happen, right? And it's a series of events that either save your life or destroy your life, which is life as it is, right? But real quick, before I forget, that friend who snapped, who I was talking to my friend about in New York, I was there in the holidays, and I, once again, even though it's been 10 years plus since that event happened, I go, hey man, how is he still in jail? Like, what's the deal? He goes, yeah, but I was working at the shop and I was telling me this other story. This guy comes in, he's like on PCP or something, and he's freaking me out. He's a client, and he's like, I have to kick him out. He's something about him is really bothering me. And he kicks him out eventually. And right before he kicks him out, this guy kind of wakes up from whatever spell he was under, whether it was PCP or who knows what, totally normal all of a sudden. And then they actually do the job they were there to do. And but my friend was like, I don't ever want to see this guy again. It was really weird how he just snapped like that. Maybe it was bipolar. Who knows?
Demons.
Fast forward a bit, and my friend's wife and their children are at the playground, and the child comes up and says, this is my best friend from school, and this is her dad, and the dad is the guy who was freaking my friend out not that long ago. Okay. So this guy, he's like, my friend, he's like, well, I got to figure a way. My daughter's not going to be friends with this person because she can't go to that house because that man is possessed. So they find a way to be like, look, you can't be friends with this person. I'm really sorry. At least not without us around. You can never go to the house. Then fast forward a little longer, a little further into the future. My friend gets a frantic phone call from his wife saying there's a hostage situation and it's that father and the children. And she goes, you'll never believe this. It's that guy's house who held his family hostage, who I always ask my friend about.
A different person?
Different person in the same house. And our former friend who held the family hostage, his wife sold it to this family. So it's like, what?
Isn't that like the Amityville horror or something?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Whenever
Yep.
Amityville,
Which is, you know all about that. 'Cause she's
Whenever-
from that area. Yeah.
whenever someone moves in, the dad goes. It's like The Shining.
Yes, dude, exactly.
The Shining,
That's why I
exactly
think
that.
there's something, a place can absorb something, whether you know it's there or not.
I read a crazy story on Reddit.
Oh, yeah, let's hear
Oh
it.
boy.
It was someone. It was like a thread, and it was like, "What are the your crazy stories?" And someone said that their sister was born with severe cerebral like defects and
Yep.
and autism, so she couldn't communicate or function. It would just drool and was in a wheelchair. And then she's like, abruptly one day, her sister just goes full loose and says, "Please help me! I'm trapped in here. Please, you have to help me!" And then goes
No.
right back to completely
No
unable.
way.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Well, but the thing
Just
is,
a story on the internet.
But the thing is, Alex,
Reddit.
it could just be a story on the internet. But then like there's people who've woken up from comas with whole new lives and histories or languages.
And I'm thinking, what if
Forever young.
yeah,
What if her spirit in her body is capable and
Yes.
sees and understands, but there's a demon or
Yep.
some kind of entity, and you wonder what the motivation of a dark entity is, to make a man threaten his own family or to torture this poor woman by cutting her off from her own body. And so you would think, but wouldn't the demon want to commit a murder? No, the demon is torturing the soul of this young woman by forcing her body down like that.
right. It's like the parasite never wants to kill the host because it needs the host. It needs to feed off of you to the very end, kind of like the government. But like that's what happens with people. They are held captive. Again in Georgia, I met a guy who had dealt with a demon, according to him, that took hostages in a church basement right outside this town that also had that battlefield with the witches. And this guy and everyone in that area believed that this demon was no good.
I heard this rumor that the Catholic Church has been doing way more exorcisms in the past
Yeah.
few years.
Supposedly, yeah. They actually put out something recently. I don't think I sent you that article, but something I was looking at. They just put out a new way to deal with apparitions, which is something they've been doing for a while. And I don't want to speak out of tongues. Anytime I talk to Seamus Coughlin about this stuff, he's like, "Well, you misinterpreted the way they did it." I'm like, "I'm sorry, Seamus," but they have been for the last many years being like, "This is how we now think about extraterrestrials. This is how we deal with apparitions." But they do exorcisms quite a bit.
What if the crazy thing is that as society becomes more and more secular and atheist, we're basically breaking down the wards that keep the entities away and keep us safe.
Yep, that's it.
And it's funny because in the modern context of the world, we talk about politically, because we've made this country so safe, people forget how dangerous it can be.
Exactly.
What if we've made the world so safe spiritually that the wards are starting to break down as we drift away from spirituality or faith?
Exactly.
And one day, we laugh at the idea of demons and monsters and spirits. It's sleep paralysis. You're hallucinating, but it's only because imagine someone in downtown New York said, "I saw a bear on Fifth Avenue." You'd be like, "That's crazy. There's no bears on Fifth Avenue."
Yep.
But then there was like a deer in one city.
Yep.
As we start to break down the barriers we built up, what if in like 5 years it becomes just this kind of phenomenon is so ubiquitous that people start to accept, demons are real, and these dark entities do possess people, and possession is real. It's just that we like 2,000 years ago, it got so bad, we pushed it all away.
Yep.
And then we forgot why we did the things we did, and so we let them back in.
Yep.
And we don't believe they exist, but maybe soon it gets so bad we start to realize and see definitive proof it does exist.
It's like when you send someone into exile and just forget about him, like Napoleon. He's like, "I'm coming back."
Yeah.
And you forget about me, I'll be, and I'm going to take it back. And he did. And I think that's why we have a culture of nihilism now, because they probably stripped away a lot of religion.
The skeptics would say of like that house with the dad going crazy.
Yeah.
They'd say black mold.
Right. For sure.
They'd give you a reason.
For sure.
Always a reason.
Yeah, there's TED Talks about people who believe they've been haunted and they find it's a leak of sorts or mold of sorts. So, I'm skeptical of everything, but
You gotta be
also
skeptical. Open-minded.
I'm fine with that, right? So there was one story where a guy said he kept finding Post-it notes, reminders around his house, and he didn't know where they were coming from. And then someone commented, "You have a carbon monoxide leak. Get out of your house now."
Right.
And he did.
Right.
And so yeah, I got no issues of someone saying, "Oh yeah, carbon monoxide made a guy loopy."
Right.
But some of these stories, like, you know, a person hearing their mother, a father hearing the mother call out to him while the daughter is being threatened.
Exactly.
Like
the carbon monoxide could also be a demon too. You know, like that.
Nice. Or well,
The
people,
demon, you know, cracked the pipe.
well,
exactly.
people do say that there are certain drugs that you can take that open up portals to demons within you. You know, like a lot of like they'll say a lot of the fentanyl stuff going on now, or meth in general, opens up a portal in you to be possessed.
Right.
The DMT stuff I think is dangerous.
Oh yeah, because it sends you to the other place, and you're there unfettered.
What's the other one you have to go to like Thailand for, like Okinawa or something?
Oh, ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah. Yeah, Okinawa.
I made up my own word.
But we should probably get
place
another
in
caller. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
let's
Sarah.
see-
We got
let's see who
Sarah
we got.
coming in. Sarah, let's see if we can bring her in. Okay.
Thank you guys for waiting and waiting to tell us your stories.
Sorry.
I'm stoked.
Are you with us, Sarah?
I am.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for calling in and wanting to tell us a story.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a crazy one.
Let's hear it.
Well, I last year took over management of a Taco Bell restaurant that was super haunted.
Whoa.
Already love it.
Yeah.
No, not Taco Bell.
I wanted this story tonight because Tim likes to live Moss.
So do I.
Well, I hope I don't chase him off Taco Bell. I hope it's just mine that has me. But yeah, it was particularly crazy for me because I was an atheist my entire life until I was like 33. I was baptized Catholic at 34, about 6 weeks before I took over this restaurant. But I spent my whole life, I didn't believe in demons, ghosts, absolutely nothing. So believing in this kind of thing was pretty new to me when I took over this location last year. And so I get in there, and my employees had really been through it. I was at that point when I took it in July after going through training. I was the third manager they'd had that year already.
Wow.
So when they start telling me stories like, oh, like stuff gets moved and people get touched by things, I didn't really take it seriously. I thought they were just, you know, messing with the new manager a little bit.
Right. So it's a hazing ritual.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, whatever, guys, fine. Oh, no, it's a ghost. So I didn't really take it super seriously until I started to experience stuff myself.
What was that?
And the first thing I experienced was, like, we had chronic staffing issues, and it was still summer. So when we closed at 4 o'clock on a Saturday, it was still light outside. Like, we all, you know, shut it down, hit the alarm, everybody leaves. I get a few blocks away, realize I've forgotten something, turn around and go back, unlock the door, hit the alarm, grab what I needed. I run into the restroom and come back out, and now I'm alone in the building, but I feel like something's watching me. And it is just the creepiest, and just like the air was heavy. It was like this really just oppressive, like that sensation's not coming from anywhere in particular. It's like the building had its eyes on me.
Ooh. Like, and you felt something like like physically, like you were like, I can feel it on me, watching me?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, I don't know. It was just like a weird kind of like electricity in the air, just something, just the vibe in the building had changed.
Right.
Like it was creepy, heavy air, like that kind of thing.
I think I heard it just now on the phone. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So I was like, nope, I am not staying here for this. So I run back over, grab what I forgot, hit the alarm, and I go to leave. And right before I do that, I say the Lord's Prayer and the Prayer of St. Michael. And in the southwest corner of the building in my dry storage, just something, I have no idea what, because I didn't walk back there and look, just something fell off a shelf. And I was like, nope, hit the alarm, turn around, and a pen rolls off the drive-through table and also hits the floor. I was like, whatever, I'm done. So I take off and I leave.
Wow.
I was not staying there for that. But over the next few weeks, I had some similar things happen. Like I had a friend who was like really upset by this. Like, don't be alone in the building. If you have to be alone in the building, don't get anywhere you can get stuck. So I would put boxes in the walk-in door if I had to be in there so it couldn't shut me in, and it pushed one of those boxes out of the way.
Whoa.
our water heater was, according to maintenance, perfectly fine, but water was getting ridiculously hot for no reason. I had a couple near scaldings.
Wow.
People started reporting to me they'd been touched. They were hearing their name being whispered from that same back corner. Like, a lot of the activity kind of originated from that southwest corner. And one night, like, the last thing that happened before I called my priest was I was talking to someone and I said the word exorcism. I wasn't even discussing the building. I was making a joke about their car because they had terrible Bluetooth, and I said, LOL, better get your car exercised. And as soon as I said that, a pan falls off a shelf and almost hit me, just lands in the sink.
Whoa.
And that was in full view of 3 other people.
Wow. Did you ever happen to look into the history of this place?
Is it built over a cemetery?
Right. Was the Taco Bell a funeral home before this?
This one could have been. I don't know the history of the building. I did have a couple of the employees that had been there for a while tell me that one of the previous managers was like really into the occult and may have been doing some Satan worship on the premises,
Wow.
but I was not able to confirm.
That's a sitcom right there.
Yeah, the satanic Taco Bell? Come on. Wow. Yeah, for sure. So did you say you spoke to a priest about exorcisms, and did anything ever come of that?
Yeah, right after that incident with the pan falling, just because I said the word exorcism, I went and saw my priest, and I said, look, this is what's going on. And he's like, yeah, we absolutely need to come in there. And okay, with the building owners, all that. Yeah, absolutely. I talked it over with my boss. I think he just let me do it to make me feel better, but in any case, he let me. So my priest and our deacon came out, and they blessed the entire building inside and out. Like, we're talking wall-to-wall holy water. They blessed a crucifix
Wow.
for me to protect me from
Wow.
anything in there. I'm actually still wearing it right now.
Wow.
And they told me after the blessing was complete that if this didn't work, if anything else happened, they would be back and they would bring out the big guns.
What is that? The Pope?
I have absolutely no idea.
What,
Wait, so is it happening still?
Oh yeah. Did things die down after that?
Yeah, immediately after it did. For a little while until one of my employees got involved. It was pretty quiet for a few weeks, actually. Like, nothing really crazy or noteworthy happened until a Saturday. I was opening. I had one employee there with me. I had a shift lead come in, and we were still waiting on 2 more opening crew members. So when it was just me and my employee in the building, she had commented to me, she's like, I wish you would have given me 5 minutes alone with this thing before you would have brought the priest in, because I would have loved to have dealt with it. I said, nope, we are not antagonizing the demon. It's not happening.
She's gonna box it? What is she thinking?
Yeah, I know. I have absolutely no idea what her plan was. I didn't even want to hear it. I was like, let's just not speak this into existence, ma'am.
Right.
So my shift lead shows up, and I need to game plan with him for the day, and he wants to smoke before we actually get started. So he wants a cigarette. I go outside with him. We come back in less than 10 minutes later, and I've got my employee just yelling things into the building like, F you, and you can't scare me, and bring it on. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. So I get her to stop what she's doing. Please do not antagonize it, and just carry on with opening.
Was it antagonized?
Yeah, did that wake it back up?
Antagonized. It was very, very angry. We actually had an electrical fire that day.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was about 30 minutes later, like right before opening. I gather up at that point, 4 employees, the shift lead, and me. I gather us all around my office door, like right at the end of the line, and just kind of going through the day, like, okay, this is how many people we have. I need who doing what, that kind of thing. And just a couple minutes into this conversation, I smell like that really distinct electrical fire smell. And I look over at my shift lead and I say, hey, do you smell that? And the whole crew chimes in, yeah, I do. And I said, okay, cool. You 4, my crew level employees, go outside right now. Shift lead, you're here with me. We got to find where this is coming from. And if it's actually something, we got to call the fire department. So we're looking around about a minute, and we can't find it. We can smell it, but we can't see anything. So I call my boss, and I'm like, hey, is there anything that could just do this? in this building. And I'm in that back corner in the dry storage while I'm on the phone with him, and I walk back out to kind of where I can see the line near my office door. And right as I come around that corner, there's a part of our hotline where we keep like the fried stuff to keep it warm. It maintains temperature at like 250 degrees. And then there's another one next to it that keeps the taco shells warm. And they both have like heating units on top of them to regulate the temperature. And the first one, as soon as I come around the corner, just like this puff of black smoke and a bunch of sparks come out of it.
And this is the first time you're seeing anything like this?
Yeah, first time ever. And it's within 30 minutes of my employee like coming right at this demon or entity and pissing it off.
And what was your solution after that? Did you talk to the priest again?
Yeah, and he was supposed to be coming back. We were trying to find a time to do it. My boss was a little bit more hesitant that time because at this point we're into late November. And so I'm trying to kind of get that nailed back down because clearly we have a problem if it's doing that. Like, I mean, I've had people burned with hot water. I've got trying to burn the down. We actually, I think we ended up closing for the rest of that day because my equipment was damaged.
Right.
And then over the course of the next few days, I actually had other little things, like no more near fires, but just like stuff going out. Like our grill wouldn't work, our hotline stopped working. So I had to have like a ton of maintenance done just within a few days of this.
I was hoping to see what the big guns would have been. So I guess you didn't see the big guns.
No, I never did get to find out what the big guns were, unfortunately, because the last thing that happened while I was with the company was the first Tuesday in December, and I was alone in the building doing our inventory count. And it was pretty early. It was only like 7, maybe 8 o'clock, but it's winter, so it's super dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting in my office. I'm entering the numbers from my count into the system, and I get that oppressive, like somebody's watching me feeling again, but it's like 20 times more intense this time. It's just like so much stronger.
Right.
Like the air felt really dense. And I felt very, very strongly that had I felt like getting up and looking out my office door in the direction of my dry storage, I would have been able to see whatever it was, like it wanted to show me.
And you didn't want to look?
No, I very much did not want to look. So I sat in my office, the prayer of St. Michael, and I crossed myself and I waited. Because I knew it wanted to scare me, and I didn't want to give it the satisfaction of scaring me in that way. So I was like, I am just going to wait. And it did eventually. The sensation passed. I felt like it wasn't just lurking out there anymore. Right. And at that point, I'm like, okay, it's time to go. I'm done for the night. I'm going home. So to get to clock out, I have to walk all the way down the line and around a corner to where the time clock is on the front counter. And then I have to come back to set the alarm, which is right outside my office door. And I get about halfway to the time clock, and a bunch of things on the wall, like right around the corner, like between the walk-in door and where the alarm pad are, just falls off the wall and hits the floor. Stuff like dustpans, brooms, the little stick that we put the pad on to clean the grill, like all that kind of stuff just splatters to the ground.
Right.
And there was nothing for it. Like I didn't bump anything that would have done it. There's nobody else in the building. That stuff's not prone to falling down. So it felt a little bit like a hissy fit to me. Like I didn't let it scare me, so it found a different way. And that totally worked. So I like run down to the time clock and run back and grab my stuff and close my office door and hit the alarm and get the hell out of there. And when I see him, I absolutely did not stop to pick that stuff up. I left it exactly where it was. I wanted nothing more to do with this that night. And when I saw my assistant manager the next morning, I told her, hey, I'm sorry about that stuff on the floor. Like, I've had something really crazy happen last night. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, there's nothing on the floor this morning. And she would have been the next person in the building. So it's not like somebody else did.
So you're saying something cleaned it up before someone got there?
Yeah. I think the demon picked up after himself, possibly for the purposes of making me look crazy.
They do like to do that,
But-
sounds like.
Yeah. Now
How did
that's
it-
the last thing go ahead.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, and how did that resolve, or did you stay there much longer?
No, I parted ways with the company within a week after that last incident.
Because of the demon? You're like,
Partially, yeah.
did you tell them there's a demon here? I cannot work here.
No, that is not specifically the reason I gave. But that, I mean, it certainly was a contributing factor to why we chose to part ways with each other. But yeah,
Wow.
it was overall a pretty terrifying experience. I would have loved to have gotten my priest in there again, because I also would love to know what the big guns are.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we never quite got there.
Well, I appreciate this story, and it's something, something we're trying to do here with this show is we're going to have a little community on the Scanner app where we might start investigations together. And I don't know if you'd be comfortable with this one, but at some point, this is something that'd be fun for like the community to do, where we find out the address and do our research, and maybe offer some type of answer, or just look at the history of this stuff. That's the thing I would do with stories like that, like my old house. Look at everything Town Hall had on the structure or house, and try to pinpoint perhaps what this is, or it was built on something interesting. But I really appreciate you telling the story, and I'm assuming you've been demon free since Taco Bell.
Yeah, nothing else
That's good.
crazy going on in my life. In my car, I actually have a vial of blessed salt hanging from my rear view. So
Amazing.
nothing crazy happening to me.
Amazing. Well, God bless and good luck out there.
Glad you got out of there.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you
Sarah.
for calling in.